Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible day, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a German day. What German prisons do differently? Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
American prisons are toxic places.
So I've heard.
When you walk into them, you are immediately bombarded by the smell, by the noise, by the lack of color on the walls. There is a dearth of life in the eyes of the people who are incarcerated, the people that work in the prisons. There's little grass or trees, very little.
Yes, but hear me out, it's prison. It depends how you look at it, right? It's prison. So, yeah, when you go to prison, they strip away everything, all the privileges you have of the outside world. So, pretty colors, nice music, you know, calm, serene atmosphere, entertaining stuff. Like, you literally get four walls. Is that humane? It's up for debate. Does it depend on what you did? What you did to what offenses you offended? Is that the right word? What offenses you offended? It depends what you're in prison for, basically. Oh my God, I couldn't get my words out then. It depends what you were put in prison for, I feel, because it just really depends on what privileges you should be allowed if you get put into prison. I'm gonna start that again. We've still got time. Come on, D.
American prisons are toxic places.
Yeah, so I've heard. Sounds about right.
When you walk into them, you are immediately bombarded by the smell, by the noise, by the lack of color on the walls. There is a dearth of life in the.
Isn't that purposeful though? Sorry to pause. Isn't that purposeful? They create prisons to look like four walls, to strip away everything that you have in the outside world that is beautiful, that is freedom, associated with freedom. So they make it as drab, they make it as plain, as cold as possible because they're in there for punishment. I get it. Whether that's humane or not, it's up for debate, right?
In the eyes of the people who are incarcerated, the people that work in the prisons, there's little grass or trees, very little plant life. This is just what the absence of life and joy can be. So we went to Germany to understand how you can do things differently. They've taken the structures, the architecture around prisons, and they've modified them and changed the people inside them. They run their prisons based in human dignity and organized around the principle of normalization, that prisons should replicate the outside community as much as possible.
See, I didn't know that you guys did this. I've heard about the prisons in like Norway and the Nordic countries and Finland, but clearly you guys are doing that as well. I don't think we've done this in the UK yet. So I don't know what's taking so much time for us to decide to actually do something like this. But I think this way of doing things is better because when you go into prison, when someone gets sent to prison, what is the end goal? Yes, it's punishment. You've taken them away from their family, from their children, from their loved ones, from their life. That's punishment already, isolation. However, if that prisoner's not getting life in prison and they're going to be out of prison at some point, because that's the whole point, most prisoners do, get discharged from prison, how do you rehabilitate that prisoner back into normal life? They can't just go in four walls, going crazy, and come out worse than they were when they came back in. Why? Because they'll just reoffend. They'll do something worse. They might even kill someone because they've gone crazy from not having any, normal life. Like mental health is shot. So, yeah, rehabilitation has to be a massive part of prison life. So this, to me, is awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Especially because I used to work in occupational therapy, which is all about basically giving someone the tools after they've been taken away from normal life because of an accident. Basically, an occupational therapist gives that person the tools they need to then live their life normally once they're discharged from hospital. Some people be in hospital for months and months on end. They leave to go back home. Their life has changed and they don't know how to function in society. So, because I've worked in that on a healthcare front, I can look at this in terms of prison and think they need exactly the same thing. They need rehabilitating. They need to function in society. I'm sorry. If you're going to release a prisoner, and that prisoner might be my neighbor, you better fix him or her, because I don't want to live next door to somebody who has problems, who has issues, who has a violent, streak that you've locked in a cage and you've let out to be around us. So you better fix them. You better, give them the support they need when they're in prison. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant, but I just feel very passionately about what you do in Germany, and I'm well done. I'm all for it.
As possible. They learn that this job is about relationships, and that relational safety is just as important as the security of the building.
There's life. People aren't afraid for their safety. We saw young people laying on the courtyard completely comfortable with each other. You would never see that in an American prison.
We saw young people hanging out with correctional officers without the fear of surveillance. Young people and correctional officers playing soccer.
You walk into someone's room and you can learn so much about them. They've got posters on the wall of their heroes and sheroes, and you've got TVs and you've got lighters on the table because they're smoking. It's very, very different. One of the things that was so striking was walking through a prison compound and you see trees and water and swans.
Wow. That's so profound. I'm sorry. That's so profound. You're going to get another round of applause because you have to. We're humans. You have to. If someone's offended and they've gone to prison, it's because somewhere down the line in their life, something's gone wrong, whether their parents have failed them, whether the system has failed them, there's something that went wrong. And if that person is part of our society, they are a citizen of our country, to be a functional member of society, it's our responsibility to rehabilitate that person, figure out what's going on. And if we can't rehabilitate them, then that means they have to be locked up for longer, or they need to go to a mental health hospital, or something. But we can't just wash our hands, put them in a cage, lock the key, and then release them in 10 years and expect them to be fine. Nah, this is the right way to do it.
Human dignity smells like, looks like, and feels like. And this was in a maximum security prison in Germany. It tells us you can do this a different way. Our experiment with mass incarceration has created a uniquely American phenomenon that has prisons warehousing millions of people far away from their families and communities. It has not worked. It has not made us safer. But we can learn from other countries, like Germany, where they have systems designed around human dignity that promote restorative justice, that ensure.
And I'll say another thing, sorry, I keep cutting her off. Just look at in communities, the way a community. So when you go to really poor areas, there are some really poor areas where the community is kept in a poor condition and the roads need work, The houses need work. Things are falling apart. The community centres are shut down. There's nothing for the people. So what you see is that people tend to adapt to their environment. If their environment is messed up, is damaged, what do you think they're going to do to the environment? What do you think they're going to do to one another? They're going to act out exactly in the way that their environment makes them feel. Do you know what I mean? You put those same people, right, troubled or not, people in an environment that's calm, clean, everything is clean and organized, everything is calm and serene. What do you think they're going to act like and how they're going to treat each other with calm nature? You know, like, we're not animals. Like, we're not like gonna be in a calm, beautiful place and then just start like fighting each other because it just doesn't match the environment. Like, obviously there are some people that do have issues, but an environment really can change who you are. And there's a lot of psychology in that, and I think you guys realize that. And you've listened to the experts on it, and you've implemented change. Something that can't be said in the US and can't really be said in the UK either. So my hat off to you, Germany. And I'll stop ranting. I'll listen to the last thing she said. Sorry.
That promote restorative justice, that ensure accountability, and everyone is safer, happier, and healthier. And we can restore the promise of American justice.
I think I've said enough on the matter. Germany, my hat goes off to you even though I'm not wearing a hat. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.